an interesting thing happened every time I did that. It seemed every time we had bananas for breakfast, we had more power. Alright, so check it out. Breakfast and lunch for me, most of these days, is bananas. I have bananas for breakfast and then I have bananas for lunch. Bananas pretty much account for, I don't know, 60 to 70% of my caloric intake. And that's a lot, so in a way you could say my diet is mainly a banana diet. I'm talking, first of all, let's just say I'm talking from the perspective of someone living here in Norway, okay? When I'm in the tropics, when I'm in Costa Rica or Thailand, when I'm in those places, there's a wide variety of really high quality, fully, truly ripe, sweet, enjoyable fruits available, and my diet typically ends up being a little bit more varied than it is here in Norway. So I'm talking from that perspective, talking from someone living outside of the tropics. And here in Norway we have access to quite a lot of fruits, of course. I mean, there's all kinds of fruits like you would expect in any developed country. We import fruit from the whole world, so there's no lack of variety as such. But what I've found is that when I buy these fruits, first of all, most of them are just super low quality. They're just picked way too early. Maybe they're old, kept in cold storage and they sort of lost their flavor. Maybe they're just grown in poor conditions. And that sound, by the way, is the sheep. Big herd of sheep coming. Anyway, distractions. So where was I? Yeah, so lots of different fruits, but typically low quality. Now and then, though, we come across, there's a few fruits here and there that are good quality. And, some people would argue that, what are you talking about? I've heard, people living in Norway even saying, it's fine. I love the grapes. I love the peaches. I love the mangoes or whatever. And what can I say? I can only talk from my perspective. And in my experience, I rarely have a good grape meal in Norway, you know what I mean? I rarely have a good mango meal in Norway, except for in the middle of the summer, buying, super expensive Pakistani imported mangoes by air, So it's in my experience, I cannot seem to find fruit that I enjoy eating here in Norway. Nevertheless, though, there are some things that I do like, like peaches and even grapes. But I've come to experience that there is a certain oomph from eating bananas. Because at times in the past I've had almost like a rule for myself, that is, I just want to eat bananas for lunch, and then for breakfast I want to have something juicy. So I used to eat watermelon for breakfast, or I used to eat grapes for breakfast, or I used to eat peaches for breakfast. Every now and then, though, I didn't have anything juicy for breakfast and I had to eat bananas for breakfast, and it was sort of like, oh shit, I have to eat bananas for breakfast. But an interesting thing happened every time I did that. And the same happened with Mats, and we sort of discussed it together, that it seemed every time we had bananas for breakfast, we had more power in the hours afterwards. There was just, I had more motivation, I was, had more energy, and there was a certain, it was packing a punch, so to speak, the bananas. So now I've actually come to the point where, for my performance, for my, energy levels and just consistency, bananas, they deliver better than any other fruit, here in Norway anyway. I know that, if I had super sweet mangoes for breakfast, probably gonna be fine, because it comes down to sugar. But I can't always find super sweet mangoes here in Norway, so bananas seem to be the most consistently sweet, calorie-dense fruit available, which is why I eat them. I also wrote a book about them, The Little Banana Book. You might want to check that out, where I talk about why they're so epic and how to sort of make them work on a fruit-based diet. So yeah, I've just sort of by experience come to prefer bananas, because anything else just sort of falls short of that punch that I need from my food. Not that it's, it almost sounds like it's stimulating. I'm not talking in the sense of stimulation like bam, like wow, it wakes me up. It's not like that. it's more just like when I have bananas, I have more sustained energy. It doesn't even come down to calories. Some of these other fruits might even be able to deliver the calories, but they're just, that's another thing actually, they're just so large in volume. You know, if I eat a huge meal of grapes, I have to eat so large volume in order to get enough calories that it sort of feels queasy, you know, in my stomach. It just fills me up so much. Whereas with my bananas, I can have my bananas for breakfast and I could go for a run right there and then immediately. I don't feel like that's really true with a lot of other fruits. And there's another reason too, and that is the fact that peaches, for example, you can get some really good peaches in Norway in the summer, from Italy and Spain and that sort of thing. But it's a hit and miss thing. You know, you buy lots of peaches and then you sit down and eat, and it's like every third peach or so isn't really good. So if you eat it, you're wasting stomach space eating a peach that won't really supply with the sugar that you need. So I tend to sort of just throw away the bad ones, eat only the decent ones and the very good ones. And that sort of makes the meal stressful, because it's almost like you eat, oh, that wasn't good, you spit it out or you throw it away, and sometimes you just end up eating them anyway and they were actually poor quality, and at the end of the meal you're just like, what? You know, I just had 400 calories and I came back from a run, I need like 1200 calories, and this doesn't work. Bananas on the other hand, they deliver, they're consistent, you know what to expect, there it is, you know, calorie wise, sweet tasting wise, it's just consistent and reliable in that sense. So there you have it. I'm very happy with my diet nowadays, believe it or not. You know, I live on bananas and sweet potatoes pretty much. I just eat bananas for breakfast, bananas for lunch, and sweet potatoes cooked for dinner. And it's actually more sustainable and more, it just works better overall than anything else I've ever done, except for maybe when I had like awesome fruits in Thailand or in Costa Rica, and it's just like an abundance of uber sweet mangoes or something like that. That's fine, you know, because it comes down again to the sugar, it comes down again to the calories, the consistency. You know, I know that my bananas are going to give me what I need. I know the sweet potatoes are going to give me what I need. They might vary a little bit in quality and therefore in the enjoyment of the meal, but more or less consistent. Peaches though, I have no idea what I'm getting. Sometimes you buy a whole bunch of peaches and they're just all poor quality, taste nothing and no sweetness, and you just have to throw them all away. And then you're like, what am I gonna eat now, you know? Watermelons, just way too calorie dilute, low in calories per 100 grams, you know, low in calories per volume. You have to end up eating so much watermelon just to be able to get enough calories, you know? You can't get enough calories from watermelon. So if you're eating watermelon for breakfast and you're an active individual, you have to make up for that low calorie meal in the morning by eating a huge meal for lunch of, again, bananas or dates or some other sweet fruit like cherimoya or jackfruit or something like that. So yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to say in this video. It's just my diet consists mostly of bananas, and I'm perfectly happy about that. Not only am I perfectly happy, but I would promote it. I would say I am promoting it right now. I'm telling you, if you wanna have consistent energy levels every day, if you wanna know that your meal is gonna give you what you actually need in terms of calories and everything else, if you wanna be sure that when you sit down with your meal, you can just eat rather than having to worry about like, oh, this isn't really good enough, I have to throw this away, I don't want to, waste my stomach space eating shitty quality fruit. And in the end, when you eat those meals of like poor quality fruit and you just eat it anyway, I sort of find at the end I'm not only am I not satisfied because I didn't get the calories I needed, but I find myself sort of feel like I missed out on the whole meal experience because I couldn't get into it, because it was just every time I had a bite it was just like, oh, this isn't really a peach. Oh, still not really peachy. Whereas with the bananas, from the first bite, you know what you're getting and it's giving you what you need. So whether or not you are in the tropics or outside tropics, and wherever you are, some places, even outside of the tropics, they tend to have better quality fruit available, and depending on how much money you want to spend, there's all these factors. But I would recommend you not only to make bananas a staple on your diet, like I talk about in the Little Banana Book, but actually make them a dominant part of your diet. That's my recommendation. And if you are able to source stuff that is really super duper sweet though, then go ahead and eat that as well, of course. I mean, a wide variety of fruits, that's the best, you know, tropical fruits for the most part. But in my personal experience here in Norway and some other places outside the tropics, I could never really make grapes work for me. Could never really make peaches work for me. And it's really just now that I'm becoming fitter and fitter and doing more and more training that I'm getting more and more in touch maybe with my needs in terms of caloric needs, and I can see how a breakfast that didn't really deliver in terms of sugar leaves me performing suboptimal for the next 3 hours, and I don't want that. I want to be at the peak of my game every day, every hour of the day, and bananas allow me to do that. Quickly on the end here, of course, bananas tend to be, as all fruits, they have certain shortcomings. Maybe you can live on bananas fine, but maybe there are some nutrients that are not as abundant in bananas. Maybe it's a good idea to have a variety of food intake. I've personally found that the combination of bananas with sweet potatoes and then dried figs, I tend to snack on dried figs if I'm hungry a little bit before dinner, or if I'm going out for a training run and I need a little bit of a snack. Those sort of fill in some of those gaps, and altogether that's a very well-rounded nutritional profile for those foods. So perfect staple on a fruit-based diet. Thanks for watching. Check out the banana book. Feel free to contact me for coaching if you're interested in one-to-one private coaching, and have a nice day. I want to show you the sheep though at the end. There they are. You can't really see them, but oh, maybe you can. They're over there, grazing on the grass and being tortured by those bells that people put around their neck. Horrible, but they're very cute. All right, see you around.